Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the broadcast. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. This is the Wednesday, September 18th, 2019 edition of the broadcast. And I am back here with you again today from the mobile recording unit. And I'm not outside like I was for last night's show. I'm inside for this one, but still on the mobile recording unit as of today, and my power is supposed to be restored any time now, so I'm just waiting for the call, waiting for the notification, and then I'll be able to be back to the regular studio again. But nonetheless, I'm here with you today for another show. Got another round of news and info and various things of discussion to get into with you here on the show today. So again, I'm glad you could join me. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, it took every extra cent that I could scrape to get the mobile rig so I could at least start doing some shows until I get back in my place again. And now, I got just very little left after buying the mobile rig and all that, so I need to raise at least $100 of our $300 goal of the week, and then the rest of the goal we'll have once we get to our actual 12-year anniversary week for the show and the films, and then towards the end of the first of the month again. So $300 our total goal for this week. We need to raise at least $100 this week. The problem is I had to the additional thing that I had to spend was you understand, I've already had to go. The distance it is from my house to where I've been staying with family has been it's like $30 one way to take Uber there. So already in the time since I've been displaced from my house, I've already had to make 2 trips over there and back. And that was, $120. One time I had to go over there to take to let the electrician in, and then the other time I had to I was told the power was back on, or it was going to be back on. They said Friday night, and if not Friday night, then it would be Saturday evening, late afternoon, early evening. Still nothing. Sunday went by, still nothing. I didn't figure anything would happen on Sunday. And then the same thing, but yesterday I did call them, and they said it was supposed to be on either yesterday or sometime today. The work order's put in. I guess it's just there's a backlog or whatever, and I guess they'd already been out there once or twice, and the stuff was still not hooked up correctly. I guess they got it corrected now. But the problem is, like I said, I've got to still be able to eat and survive and then travel back there and stuff. So we just need to raise a minimum of $100 today. Any help that you can give, please hit up our 12-year anniversary fundraiser campaign page. It's going on now. You can find links to that in the comment section of this video and in the archives and on our Facebook pages, the Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page and the Josh Reeves Filmmaker Talk Show. I always say it wrong. It's something like that. Let me go. I always kind of get it wrong. I think it's Radio Host, Filmmaker, Explorer, something like that. Anyway, you can find the links to contribute there. You can also use the donate button at my website, beglobalreality.com. Yes, I'm aware my website is outdated and old, but I'm hoping to get that remedied later in the year. So stay ready for that. Like I said, I haven't been able to do shows. None of this has been my fault. This has been completely out of my control. It's taken them this long to get everything fixed, reconnected, hooked up, approved by the city. And now it's just a waiting game for the electric company to come back out and reconnect this. But, it's been tough enough not being able to do shows. But again, not getting very much support either. So everybody that can contribute anything today, please pitch in and contribute, because it's finally all starting to come back together. But it's going to be a slow climb. And the past, being off the show the past couple of weeks has hurt me. Had a couple weeks off before that when I was working on the film. And we just need anything and everything we can get thrown at us right now in the biggest way possible so I can get back to my place, get back to work on the films, get back to doing these regular shows, and back to the business at hand, because it's time to start kicking these motherfuckers in the nads. I'm ready. Man, I tell you what, you know what? I'm sick of people that I like dying. Can we get some motherfuckers that I don't like to die for once, please? Can I just say that right out of the gates today? Jesus, why is it always people that I like have to die? 3 in the last week, man. Daniel Johnston, Eddie Money, and Rick Ocasek from the Cars. What the fuck? Yet, Bon Jovi still lives. All the dudes in Foreigner. Think about this. Rock and roll is rife with tragedies and death. All the dudes in Foreigner, still alive. What the fuck? Why can't some people I don't like die for once? I'm serious. Bon Jovi still lives. How? You don't have to believe in, you don't have to believe in God or the Creator or anything to realize fucking John Bon Jovi still walks the earth. There is a fucking devil incarnate. Jesus Christ. But I'm serious. It seems like I never once, whenever somebody famous dies, I've never once unless it's somebody that I just, I'm indifferent about, or, somebody I wasn't a fan of, or didn't, not somebody I necessarily disliked. But sometimes, famous people die and you say, whatever, I didn't really know that person, see anything they were in or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But it seems like there's hardly ever one, except when it's somebody like, Zbigniew Brzezinski or somebody, or David Rockefeller. God damn. Yeah. Sucks shit, man. But seriously, think about all these asshats that still live. All the greats that have died. I'm tired of it. For Christ's sakes, they left us with fucking Ringo and Fall. Jesus. All right, anyway, I'll get into some news for you here on the show tonight. This is something I've talked about, I talked about a lot in the past, especially concerning my work on the films The Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And it was astounding to me how much of this stuff I found is going on all over the United States and even beyond in other countries as well. Because the Lost Secrets of Ancient America just started out for me as a strictly a research effort and a film about the rock wall. But in my attempts to prove its lineage and what it is and who it was built by, that opened up this whole completely other different thing for me, because it started with me finding out that around the area of the rock wall, there were all these multiple news reports of all these different giant skeletons being found around the area, and these ancient subterranean caves and stuff I'd heard from locals and stuff I'd seen, mounds, ancient mounds in the area too. And I had already heard of all this stuff being found in other parts of the country, so that's what led me into finding this much more wider and broader topic of research than I had expected, because I just went into it. That's how all these films really are. All of them have really come out that way for me. But it turns out to be this much more broader and much more sinister thing. And one of those pieces of info that I found was, and I talk about this both in Spellcasters, the Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And that is this thing where artificial lakes, man-made lakes, time and time again are built on top of basically ancient sites to conceal their existence from the public. And that's widely known to have happened with the rock wall with Lake Ray Hubbard There's parts of the wall of the what I guess would be the southwest corner of the wall that are submerged, probably forever underneath the Lake Ray Hubbard. And that was just one example. It led me to finding all these other examples across the United States, and I cover those in the films. In places I would have never expected it to be, like in Muscle Shoals in Alabama, and just many other sites. I mean, there's even another lake here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Grapevine Lake, where they built that to cover up there was these ancient like dinosaur tracks and dinosaur fossils and stuff. And a couple of years ago, I lived over that direction, and there wasn't a lot of rain, and the rain went down, and a lot of these dinosaur things were exposed. But you find that a lot where they're covering up dinosaur stuff or other ancient sites. I found tons of them across the United States where, there was one particular site where I think Lewis and Clark described, and had seen giants there or something like that. I can't remember all the details. And I was like, I want to go find this location. I want to go find where this is at. I think it was in Wyoming or somewhere crazy like that. And I was able to track down the place where it was at, and of course, an artificial man-made lake was built right on top of it. I talked about that with the whole Kennedy assassination thing, and how how it coincided, the completion coincided with his assassination. They were all behind schedule and all that. So all of that brings me to this news item, which I saw a couple of weeks ago. This is another. I mean, this is here locally. This is not far from Dallas. About an hour and 20 minutes away from Dallas. I actually used to live in this area about 20 years ago or so, and it's out in Fannin County in Texas here, and it's interesting because I know this area because it's a well-known area for people to go out and collect fossils. A lot of paleontology groups and stuff go out and collect fossils in this area. And I knew that, and that's not mentioned in this article, of course. But I saw this and I just went, motherfucker, here we go again. So in this area where, that I've known about for many years, people go out and collect fossils at, they're now have not only proposed, but I guess they've approved the building of this lake right in this area that will forever permanently cover up this area where people would go out and collect fossils and stuff like that for many years. And I mean, this is crazy. You've heard, this is just wild. Guess what? Guess what? I can't even say it. It's so unbelievable, and it's such a ringing true of all the stuff I've told you in the past about this stuff. My fucking God, man. I just come right out and say it. Ralph Hall Lake. Can you believe that? Ralph Hall fucking Lake. If you don't know who Ralph Hall is, you've heard me talk about him. I mentioned him at the end of The Secret Right Volume 2. Because that was sort of the lead, because I already knew then the next film was going to be the Rockwall film. He was a Council of National Policy member. He was a right-winger he was a left-winger for a long time. A liberal for a long time, and then switched and became a Republican. Longest sitting congressman in U.S. history. Died not too long ago. He's one of the main, if not, I would say as far as Rockwall is concerned, the city of Rockwall, there's not a bigger, has not ever been a bigger force that has attempted to keep the Rockwall covered up other than Ralph Hall. I've told you about the stage, the 2.5-ton garnet stone, the Sanders stone, where multiple witnesses saw him and two other men stealing it from the Rockwall courthouse at 3 a.m. in a heist. And here they are building another fucking lake in North Texas where they're going to be covering up an ancient site where people go and collect fossils and whatnot. It just made me more intrigued with it. It made me think, okay, well, what else is there? You know what I mean? If people are going out there for many years to collect fossils and whatnot, I mean, there might be even something more ancient out there in that area, maybe even something else, not the rock wall, but something else like the rock wall that nobody even knows about yet. Nobody's ever even discovered. And the way that they're sort of giving a little wink and a nod and a little fuck you to all of us is by naming it fucking Ralph Hall Lake. The Freemason cocksucker that, you know, I mean, every time anybody would get a rock wall dig going, he would show up. Nobody would even know that this cocksucker even got told anything was going on. That happened to John Lindsay. Everything was going peaches and gravy, and fucking all of a sudden Ralph Hall appears like a fucking puff of smoke and says, shut it down. Shut it down now. Shut it down. Cover it back up. Don't make me get whoever involved to make you do it if you don't do it willfully. I mean, last time I checked, congressmen were not law enforcement. You know what I mean? If you're doing something on property you own or property someone else owns that is giving you permission to do it on in the state of Texas, guess what, buddy? That's all you need. I just never got that. I could never get anybody to explain to me, well, why? Fuck him. That's what I would say. But apparently that's how powerful this guy was. How much pull he had. So it's really made me think that maybe there's something else in this area. A possible future lake site north of Hunt County is steadily progressing through the permitting process and is expected to be completed in the next decade, according to water planning. Larry Patterson, executive director of the Upper Trinity Regional Water District, gave some insight into the future of the proposed Ralph Hall Lake. Jesus fuck. At a recent Greenville Rotary Club meeting, the lake is planned to be constructed in Fannin County, just north of Ladonia, less than 10 miles north of the Hunt County line. According to Patterson, during a phone interview, the Ralph Hall Lake project began in 2002 when local officials from Ladonia and Fannin County contacted Upper Trinity with a proposal for a new lake in the area. A pivotal moment came when U.S. Congressman Ralph Hall met with these local officials and gave support for the project, which now bears his name. Yeah, see? You smell that fucking heavily redacted and edited narrative there for that. Oh, Ralph Hall just happened to step in on this. It's not even his. That's not even near his county. You know what I mean? That's not his district. That's not his area. Why should he step in and do something? Because he obviously knows something nobody else does. He knows something about that area. And he wants to continue to keep it covered up. The lake is planned to help stop the problem of major erosion in the North Sulphur Riverbed. The river was engineered in the 1920s to be 20 feet wide and only 10 feet deep, but erosion has expanded its size to up to 300 feet wide and 60 feet deep. And, I think that has something to do with why... I could be wrong about this, but it's been a long time. It's been 20-something years since I lived out in that area, but I think it had something to do with why it was a good area to... the erosion had something to do with why it was a good area to get fossils or something like that. I don't know. I never went out there and did it, but... Anyway, I just wanted to read you that because I thought it was just right up, par for the course for everything I've told you in the past. Oh, this sounds like some fucking Matrix shit right here. You guys hear they're making a fucking fourth Matrix? The Wachowski sisters. Still funny to me. Scientists create a device that can mass produce human embryoids. Wow. Well, we're just about, one step away now from the total Matrix existence where they just, mass produce embryos and use them as batteries. Oh, it's wild. Scientists have invented a device that can quickly produce large numbers of living entities that resemble very primitive human embryos. Researchers welcome the development described Wednesday at the journal Nature as an important advance for studying the earliest days of human embryonic development. But it also raises questions about where to draw the line in manufacturing synthetic human life. Other scientists have previously created synthetic embryos, which are also known as embryoids, These entities are made by coaxing human stem cells to form structures found in very early human embryos. The research has raised questions about how similar to complete embryos they could and should be allowed to become, right? Well, again, anytime you have something like this where they're talking about they're doing it one way, but it does have the risk to be done another way, you can bet your bottom dollar whatever other way they're already talking about is already going on. You're just not being told about it. So that's interesting. And that, that has all kinds of applications. For every application, it's scary. A lot of applications. Obviously, you start thinking about the fictional Matrix thing, but the real life applications of that technology don't get much more cheery than the fictional Matrix one, unfortunately. Everything from the creation of super soldiers to the creation of a supplemental race of humans where they wipe us all out with neutron bombs, and then they mass produce the perfect slave race. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's one of those stories. It's just it's hard to feel any kind of good about it. You know what I mean? I mentioned this yesterday on the show, and I just didn't get to it when I was discussing the staged alien invasion scenario. And one of our listeners said, well, should we, talked about the von Braun comment, he was a Nazi, why should pay attention to anything he said? Well, yeah, he may have been a Nazi and all that, but the guy was also one of the top minds ever. And at the time when he made those statements, he was dying. He didn't make those statements when he was, fully involved in the CIA activities post paperclip in this country with NASA and the rest of it you all know about. But he had a lot of the stuff that I've read. The guy had as a lot of people do. It doesn't. When that stuff comes, especially when cancer comes knocking, man, it doesn't matter how big and tough or bad of a motherfucker you were before. That's the great equalizer, and people go through profound psychological things when they're dying of cancer. I've personally seen it more than one time in my life. I've personally been there and witnessed and seen it more than once in my life. So I can speak from a perspective of knowledge on this. And even the most hardened motherfucker, yes, even somebody that used to be a Nazi, they start doing a lot of accounting at the end of their lives. And I've read from multiple sources, and I've read a lot of this for a lot of years, that essentially that was the case with von Braun towards the end of his life, is that he was trying to repent and, with all the atrocities and stuff that he'd been a part of and witness to, and who knows what else he did with the United States post-paperclip, besides just, the stuff we know about with NASA and the Apollo stuff and the rocket technology and how we couldn't get a fucking rocket off the ground till we got those motherfuckers over here. Not really, you put yourself in his position, not really a lot of ways to repent and right that wrong in your final days of your life as you're dying from cancer, as it's slowly rotting you away. So yeah, the idea that he was trying to find some way to use this insider information that he had, and how many things that he said like that have come to pass. Yeah, it makes it very interesting. But I talked about the staged alien invasion scenario on the show yesterday, and I mentioned these sky serpents that I believe are some kind of holographic technology. U.S. government is silently monitoring snake-like UFOs seen across the country. The government is likely aware of the snake-like UFOs that have been spotted across the country and are monitoring them, a former police detective has revealed. Over the past several months, people from all parts of the U.S. have claimed to capture bizarre objects in the skies on camera which bear similarity to snakes in their movement. The site started in June. Well, actually, they started about 10, 12 years ago and have just now come back again. The sighting started in June when a popular YouTuber was shocked to discover a bright light above the Mojave Desert in California. Since then, they have supposedly been spotted during a meteor shower in Wyoming, as well as over New Mexico. I'm sorry, not New Mexico, as well as over New York, moving like it was alive. After the sightings exploded, Daily Star Online asked Detective Constable turned UFO hunter Gary Hestine his thoughts on the mysterious craft. I've never heard of that fucking guy. Cigar-shaped UFOs have been seen for decades. He told the site occasionally some reports involve snake-like objects. There's lots of footage of these for years. Ones that split into pieces and split into like individual orbs and then come back together and reform. Yeah, this is obviously some sort of holographic test of holographic imaging technology. But also, there are very interesting things. One of the other things that's anomalous that's covered up is not just UFOs, but these things that have been seen and filmed numerous times from like the space station and stuff like that. And there's footage of them swarming around these electrical storms. And these are not like craft. You can tell these are not craft. These are like entities. They're almost like luminous spheres of light. And they're highly attracted to electrical storms. It's almost like they're charging themselves from the plasma energy produced by thunderstorms, electrical storms on Earth and the atmosphere. You ever seen the, was it STS-75 or something like that? I can't remember what it was. The NASA tether incident. That's a great example of that. The things you see there. Those are, people call them UFOs. Those don't particularly strike you as being flying saucers or crash, or there's some kind of organic entities. It's very strange, and a lot of this has been captured. And I think that if it's not holographic technology, that might very well be what these sightings of these so-called sky serpents and sky snakes are. I don't know if I mentioned this last night. I may have mentioned it, but not read the article. But this is, again, to me, another one of the pieces of the what I believe is the coming staged false flag alien invasion scenario. Incoming mysterious object from interstellar space approaching our system. We had that one thing. They said it looked like an alien craft. What's interesting about this is that it's not a comet, it's not a meteor, it's not an asteroid. What is it? And they say this is only the second object. I guess the other one was the most recent one that's ever been spotted. You know what my theory, I'll tell you my theory, what both of these things could be. They very well could be spacecraft. I don't understand why people are so arrogant as to discount the idea that these could be spacecraft. And that not only do they discount the idea these could be spacecraft, this is the one that gets me the most. It seems that humans are so arrogant that the idea that there are many different and probably billions upon billions of different races of people and whatnot spread throughout the galaxies. And it just seems like humans can't accept the fact that there's other races of people out there, extraterrestrials as we call them. And they know we're here. They just don't give a fuck. They could care less. It's like humans can't accept the fact that there might be extraterrestrials out there in spacecraft. And guess what? They're coming. Yeah. We've just now started to detect them because our technology has now gotten that good. But they're saying this is only the second one to come through our, through our galaxy or whatever. But these motherfuckers might just be passing through. We've just got it so in our heads that, I mean, here's the thing. There is absolutely zero evidence to prove that any visiting extraterrestrial race to our planet would want to destroy us. Because that's how hardcore people have been propagandized and programmed. I'm tired of it. Most likely, the reason we haven't been contacted by other civilizations out there is because they couldn't give a fuck. They couldn't give a shit about us. There's probably so many other better planets and better people. They ain't got time to come down here fucking. We're like, fuck those motherfuckers. Don't even tell them we exist. You know what I'm saying? Nah, let's let them motherfuckers just go on believing what they believe. They're fucked anyway. But this idea that if any extraterrestrial craft came close to the Earth, well, of course they would come to Earth. No evidence to support that. No evidence to support that extraterrestrials would 100% want to be hostile if they came here. None. But that's what you're going to hear. You will not hear these two statements made together. You will not hear aliens exist and they're here to help us. You will never hear those two words put together. It will only be aliens exist and they're hostile and we got to do something about it. And neither is there any proof that says that. I mean, I'm serious. I think it's most likely there's probably fucking people from different planets coming by this planet all the time and go, fuck those guys. Fuck them. Maybe in a couple more 100 years, they can destroy themselves. Maybe we can hang, but fuck those motherfuckers. A mysterious object from deep space is fizzing towards the solar system, and scientists have no idea what it is. Dubbed C-2019 Q4, the high-speed body appears to be on a path originating from another star system that will see it fire past Mars in October. That would make it only the second interstellar visitor ever known to have reached the solar system. The first, a cigar-shaped object called Awa. I don't even ever understood how you said this. Oumuamua? I don't know. Took the world by storm when it first careened past Earth in 2017. A pair of Harvard scientists claimed it could be an alien spacecraft, sparking a frantic flurry of scans as the object closed in on the solar system. Experts found no signs of alien signals, as if we know what frequencies they're using. Give me a fucking break. And it whizzed past Earth before its true origin could be determined. Now researchers at the European Southern Observatory in Germany say an object once thought to be from the solar system may actually be an interstellar traveler. C-2019 Q4 was spotted on August 30th by amateur Ukrainian astronomer Gennady Borisov, and scientists have studied it ever since. It's so exciting, we're basically looking away from all of our other projects right now. The main difference from the Oumuamua one and this one is that we got it a long, long time in advance. Now astronomers are much more prepared. Early images of C-2019 Q4 suggest it is followed by a trail of dust. That's typically what you see coming out the back of a comet, though scientists can't say for sure that's definitely what the object is. See? That right there. See a trail of dust behind it, but they can't determine it's a comet. But yet they've been able to determine all these other things that are way out there are comets. I don't know. It's interesting. But again, you know, there's just as much chance these motherfuckers are going, you know what? Nah, fuck those guys. Fuck them. Fuck them and feed them fish heads. Don't even drop by there. Don't even let them know we're around. AI synthetic brains will allow humans to be in 500 places at once. AI-powered synthetic brains will allow humans to operate 500 versions of themselves at once, according to the man behind Amazon's voice assistant. Igor Jablokov believes artificial intelligence will become so advanced we will be unable to distinguish between a real or synthetic mind. The CEO of Prion previously founded Yap, a fully automated cloud platform voice recognition platform for voice recognition, which was snapped up by Amazon before being used for the popular Alexa. The device uses a non-human voice to communicate with users, but Igor warned such technology could change with terrifying consequences. He told the Financial Times that people will not be able to tell if they are interacting with you or your AI proxy. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Elon Musk already got that technology. Right now, you could be doing 2 interviews at once, or there could be 500 versions of you running 500 interviews. What's more, he also believes artificial minds will be able to learn before passing them on to other versions. They would be learning more second by second and telling the other versions what they have learned. He goes on to say, the information helps us train our speech recognition and natural language understanding system so Alexa can better understand and request blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they want to sell us on why this Alexa is still, like I talked about yesterday, still want to sell us on why we need that in our house. Fuck that shit. You don't need it. People just want to be able to tell their fucking friends and the people at the water cooler that they fucking got this, and people just want to fit in. Boy, this is another one that falls under the category of, I've talked about this for years, and this is another one under the category of yesterday's conspiracy theory is today's accepted fact. Cats, dolphins, and one smart raven, the CIA's secret animal spies. Yeah, man. This stuff's real. They've been using animals for close to 50 years. It's not a conspiracy theory. People thought Robo-Roach was a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. In early 1974, Duda was top in espionage class on the way to becoming a high-flying CIA agent. He handled himself better in the rough, carried heavier loads, and could brush off attackers. But on his toughest yet spy school test, he disappeared, done in by some of his own kind, ravens. The bird was a central figure in a decade-long U.S. Central Intelligence Agency program to train animals as agents, helping Washington fight the Cold War against the Soviet Union. On Thursday, the CIA released dozens of files from its tests on cats, dogs, and dolphins, and on birds from pigeons to some of the smartest ravens and crows. It studied cats as possible loose roaming listening devices, audio surveillance vehicles, and put electrical implants in dogs' brains to see if they could be remotely controlled. Neither of those programs went very far. More effort was put into training dolphins as potential saboteurs and helping spy on the Soviet Union's development of a nuclear submarine fleet, perhaps the most potent challenge to U.S. power in the mid-1960s. Projects Oxygas and Chirology sought to see if dolphins could be trained to replace human divers and place explosives on moored or moving vessels, sneak into Soviet harbors, and leave in place acoustic buoys and rocket detection units, or swim alongside submarines to collect their acoustic signatures. The programs, too, were given up, left to the U.S. Navy, which to this day makes use of dolphins and seals, hawks, and owls. But what also grabbed the U.S. spy chief's imagination in the Cold War days was birds, pigeons, hawks, owls, crows, and ravens, and even flocks of wild migratory birds. For the latter, the agency enlisted ornithologists to try to determine which birds regularly spent part of the year in the area of the Shikhanay in the Volga River Basin southeast of Moscow, where the Soviets operated a chemical weapons facility. The CIA saw the migratory birds as quote-unquote living sensors, which based on their feeling would reveal what kinds of substances the Russians were testing in the flesh. In the early 1970s, the CIA turned to birds of prey and ravens, hoping they could be trained for emplacement missions like dropping a listening device on a windowsill and photo missions. In Project Axiolite, bird trainers working on San Clemente Island of Southern California taught the birds to fly miles over the water between a boat and land. If the training went well, a chosen candidate would have a tough mission, being smuggled to Soviet Russia, where it would be released secretly in the field, tasked to fly 15 miles carrying a camera to snap pictures of a radar for SA-5 missiles and fly back. They had red-tailed and Harris hawks, great horned owls, a vulture, and a cockatoo. This is just wild. It was not easy. A cockatoo was a clever flyer, but maybe too slow to avoid gull attacks. 2 falcons died from illness. Another promising candidate lost feathers, and trainers had to wait for it to molt and then grow them back. Yeah, but I mean, I guess this is just mostly talking about. I mean, this is really the first admission that they even did this kind of stuff, used animals for spy purposes and stuff like that, cameras, listening devices, etc. Even though a lot of us have known this has been going on for decades, but what they're also trying to do here is they're also trying to discount it and make it seem like it never worked and they tried to do it and it was all just a big failure. That's what they always try to do. That's when you know you're dealing with a shill story when you see that. They're trying to make people think, oh, they tried to do that, but it didn't work right. No, it worked. Brain computers only rich can afford to create new superior human species. When skills and abilities can be bought rather than learned, it will be survival of the richest. I mean, that's exactly what Zbigniew Brzezinski described in his 1969 book, The Rise of the Technotronic Era, between two ages. The haves and the have-nots, and how in the future people would seek to acquire wealth and status, not to buy things like they do now, but in order to be able to afford technology that will allow them to extend their lives and pretty much become immortal. Brain-to-computer interfaces are coming, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 20, but they're inevitable as Christmas. But when they arrive, they will change our society forever. Technology... God, I hate this. 5,000 pop-ups when you're trying to read an article. Technology to connect our brains directly to the internet already exists in various labs around the world, and the first primitive steps towards full connection between humanity and electronics are already in use. In 2012, a TV show, 60 Minutes, showed a paralyzed woman named Jan Schuerman feeding herself a bar of chocolate using a robotic arm controlled by her brain. That same brain sensor was shown to be just as capable of controlling an F-35 stealth fighter. Professor Chris Tamzow, Regis Professor of Engineering, Chair in Biomedical Circuit Design at Imperial University, says it's impossible to guess what the application of brain-to-computer interfaces might be. The application for neural interfaces are as unimaginable today as a smartphone was a few decades ago. There are several teams around the world working to perfect brain-to-computer interfaces. Elon Musk's Neuralink project has promised human tests in 2020, and Facebook have their own system that promises to give us telepathic content with people around the world, which is already in the basic testing phase. Yeah, I don't want that. But that's the whole next thing. That's going to be the whole next. Yeah, I don't want. God, can you imagine? Isn't Facebook annoying enough already when you get some fucking blast from the past, somebody? I mean. I understand what it's like somebody you went to school with or something, but I literally had somebody that I lived across the street from 30 years ago try to friend me on Facebook one time. I'm like, nah, dude. Nah, I don't think so. But can you imagine? You're just sitting there and all of a sudden, you get a telepathic message from some fucking dude you knew in the 3rd grade at 3 a.m. Fuck that, Jack. You can keep that tech. So where is this parts about how the elite will only be able to afford it? We know that. Jeff Ling. Oh, he looks like a fucking piece of work. Imagine a person whose brain was always connected to the internet. Imagine what they could do, for example, as a financial trader. Nah, dude, you got to shut it off at some point. I don't want that. You think I want my brain just like doing research while I'm trying to sleep? F that. It already basically is. It's hard enough. Justin Dirty Sanchez, a researcher at the U.S. Defense Department DARPA think tank, says that new abilities could one day be bought rather than earned. Yeah, it'll be just like an app store. Absolutely. The brain implant stuff will be just like the app store. How much you have will be based on, or, like they have in video games now. Where you have all these credits and you buy different stuff and, different packs for the games. That's exactly how the stuff's going to be. That's what all this is in preparation for. If you want, it'll be like it will be kind of like the Matrix. You want to learn jiu-jitsu. You just get a pack down on your brain, but hey, you're going to have the money to pay for that pack. Not everybody's going to make it expensive. What else we got here? Let's see. Give me just a second. Russian counterintelligence operation hacked encrypted FBI communication systems in 2010, giving Moscow access to intelligence that hindered the Bureau from tracking Russian spies in the U.S. and stopped the CIA from contacting their assets overseas. Russia has been accused of hacking encrypted FBI communications in 2010, giving their spies access to U.S. intelligence services' most sensitive communications in what one official has called a stunning breach, right? Here they go again. Acting like all this was a breach or it wasn't intentional. Come on. Fuck no. We've given those motherfuckers backdoor access just like we've kept the borders wide open intentionally. Don't think for a second anything otherwise. The move meant Vladimir Putin's operatives in Washington, New York, and San Francisco were able to access both the location of FBI surveillance teams and communications between them, Yahoo News reports. The breach also reportedly influenced the decision by then-President Barack Obama to expel 35 Russian diplomats weeks before Donald Trump took office. The Obama administration accused the diplomats of acting in a manner inconsistent with their diplomatic status over the hacking of U.S. political groups during the 2016 presidential election. But new information suggests their actions were a part of a wider plot dating back years that hindered the Bureau from tracking Russian spies in the U.S. and stopped the CIA from contacting their assets overseas. One former senior official called it a stunning technical breakthrough. Another said it was a light bulb moment for the U.S. when the activity was discovered, adding this could be why we haven't seen certain types of activity. Right. Again, they were given... We've given them the keys to the kingdom, and we gave it to them a long time ago. That's the real truth. At the time, the Russian government dismissed hacking allegations as absurd. Well, of course they would. We didn't hack anything. We didn't hack that. But they're not going to tell you the real truth either. He's not going to say, we didn't hack that. That's absurd. We didn't hack anything. They fucking let us in. Of course, Putin's not going to say that, but that's why he is calling the hacking allegations absurd. No, we didn't hack jack crap, buddy. They gave us right in the back door. What are you talking about? CIA access. A former senior CIA official told the Yahoo News that it was a very broad effort to try and penetrate our most sensitive operations. Yeah, of course. And the real question here, though, is why is Yahoo News talking to CIA officials? That should tell you everything you need to know right there. I mean, don't buy this for a second. This whole idea that, nah, man, we've given them the keys to the kingdom. They've had them for decades. Well, Russia's just killing it lately, aren't they? No pun intended. I'll tell you what. Did you guys hear the latest? I didn't have time to pull it up on my list today, but John Brisson sent me this article earlier. I guess the guy that the masseuse, I guess is what you call him, the masseuse that the massage therapist, right? Only thing you're therapizing is cock, buddy. Okay. The massage therapist that had a lawsuit against Kevin Spacey and it accused him of all that stuff. Yeah, he got fucking murked. He's dead. It's crazy. I had just found pictures. I was in my continued investigation into Naomi Campbell. Since there's no question. You guys have got to give me that one. I was the first one that really cracked the nut on her, even a month before the mainstream media even did. Still finding stuff, but Yeah, man, she's pictures of, I mean, all those scumbags. She's got, there's pictures, she was friends with all of them. Weinstein, all of them. And I've got multiple pictures of her with Kevin Spacey. So, not hard to put together what probably happened there. He probably got killed by, probably got murked by Russian hitmen. And you're a fool if you think that doesn't have anything to do with the Epstein stuff either. Or didn't they just have some kind of missile test that contaminated parts of Russia or something? They tried to. There's huge cover up on that. They tried to keep it covered up. Explosion rips through Russian lab housing smallpox, Ebola, and plague. Wow, Russia, you guys are just killing it, literally and figuratively. A massive gas explosion has sparked a fire at a Russian lab that houses viruses ranging from smallpox to Ebola, authorities have said. The State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology has said a cylinder exploded in a lab, which is one of the two places in the world that houses the smallpox disease and has been eradicated in the world. Great. Here we go. Thank you, Russia. They just provide such great things to the world, don't they? Other highly lethal diseases that are stored there include anthrax and Ebola. Well, that's just great. Later in Koltsovo, in the Novosibirsk region of Siberia, the site is thought to be where biological weapons have been made. Firefighter and rescue teams responded to the explosion before it was realized what the possible implications could be. Russian media have reported that the situation was quickly upgraded from an ordinary emergency to a major incident. One worker suffered third-degree burns after the blast, which blew out the glass in the building. Firefighters have been battling a blaze covering 30 square meters, which engulfed the facility after the blast. So, yeah, well, give it up for Russia. They're just, they're killing it. The intelligence community is exploring long-range biometric identification. The intelligence community is working on building biometric identification systems that can single out individuals from hundreds of yards away or more, a feat that's virtually impossible using technologies that exist today. Ultimately, the tech would let spy agencies rapidly identify people using cameras deployed on far-off rooftops and unmanned aircraft. According to the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, oh, that's IARPA. Yeah, I forgot about that one. The Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, the research arm for the CIA and other intelligence agencies. So DARPA, which really works at the behest of the Pentagon, everybody knows about. We talked about HARPA yesterday, the Health Advanced Research Project Agency, but IARPA, which is really the one where the real sinister shit is going down, because that's the one that's really coming up with the IARPA is really where they make the stuff that you just would think it was science fiction if you know the stuff where it's like 20 years ahead of what we know they have. That's what they do. So they want basically long range biometric identification, where they can see anybody from miles off, and eventually I've heard. I don't know, this could be bullshit, but I remember hearing 10, 12 years ago, they already had technology like this from satellites. And that they could already biometrically identify you with facial recognition from the ground, from space, from satellites, anywhere on the planet. And that's why they always tell people, well, I've heard, listen, I mean, this could be bullshit, but I'm just going to say it anyway. There are people that won't look at chemtrails because they believe that these systems up there are used to identify people who are tracking chemtrails and watching them. And that when you're looking up in the sky to see these things, they can actually, from a satellite, biometrically capture your face and your address and all this stuff, and they keep it in a database. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I have heard for over 10 years that they had these, basically identification. I mean, they had sounded like you could see the face on the head of a dime sitting on the sidewalk in the late 60s. Okay, that's fact. So it wouldn't surprise me now they have stuff that's that more advanced now. Give me a second here. I got to see what else I've got. Smart faucets and toilets. Use Alexa to listen to your conversation. Well, again, it's something we talked about yesterday. See how far it's going now? Jesus Christ. I didn't even know they had smart faucets and smart toilets. Really? That's fucking crazy. They actually have, like, robotic bidets now. Oh, my God. The shitter's listening to you. Can't even take a good shit anymore without being listened to. Of course, that's already, been going on. You take your phone in the shitter anyway, so. Area 51 has secrets that deserve to be protected, warns U.S. Air Force General. Area 51 has secrets that deserve to be protected. The U.S. Air Force General has warned amid a plan to storm the secret installation to, quote-unquote, see them aliens. General David Goldfein, the Chief of Staff for the U.S. Air Force, made the cryptic comments at the Air Force Association's Air Space Cyber Conference at National Harbor, Maryland. He was quizzed about the viral Facebook event by reporters. Millions of people planned to attend the storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us on September 20th. U.S. Air Force officials have already warned they stood ready to defend the military base. Goldfein's response, however, will just further inflame the conspiracy theories that Area 51 is actually the home of U.S. government secrets about aliens. Well, it is, whether you believe it's alien technology or not. And I've been out there myself already, and I've been close to a lot of military installations, especially in my search for, the Lost Secrets of Ancient America stuff. And I can tell you, there's nowhere else. There's just nowhere else that's as highly secure and as highly. There's parts where they can shoot you and kill you if you go past certain parts. So there's. I have a feeling, and I have had this feeling for a long time, and I have even had this feeling more going out there that aliens or UFOs or anything, stuff like that at Area 51 is just that's just the tip of the iceberg. Did you guys hear about Ed Buck? Looks like he had another gay man OD at his house again. That makes 3. He's got to go down this time, right? How is this guy still walking around? This is like the 3rd gay man he's had OD at his house. How is this guy not already in prison? Ed Buck, a prominent Democratic donor and political activist, was arrested Tuesday and charged with operating a drug house and providing methamphetamine to a 37-year-old man who suffered an overdose at Buck's West Hollywood apartment last week. The Los Angeles County District Attorney Office said Buck is charged with 3 counts of battery, causing serious injury, administering methamphetamine, and maintaining a drug house. Prosecutors said Buck injected the victim with methamphetamine in his apartment in the 1200 block of Laurel Avenue in West Hollywood on September 11th. The victim suffered an overdose but survived. Buck is known as an animal rights and LGBTQ activist who has donated to Democratic politicians and once ran for West Hollywood City Council. But past incidents strikingly similar to Wednesday's overdose have put Buck at the center of investigations. The most recent incident marks the 3rd known time a man suffered a methamphetamine overdose at Buck's Hollywood apartment. The previous 2 victims did not survive. Okay, so the first 2 died and the 3rd one survived. Okay. I thought they were saying the 3rd one died also. Still, though, this guy should already be in fucking prison. Give me a break. Let's see what else we got here. Do I have anything else? Oh, let's see. No, I guess that's all I've got. Thought I had some more stories other than that, but whatever. I'll get into them tomorrow. So, anyway, I'm still here on the Mobile Reaper now. Hopefully, we'll be back to the regular studio soon. And our goal for the week is $300, and we need to raise $100 today. So please contribute and get yourself some downloads, get a subscription to the archives, whatever you can do. But please contribute, folks. I need your help to crawl back here and get back, and got to have some money to operate with to do it. All right, I love you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me again. Take care.